What's good, everyone? What's good? What's good? Y'all know what it is. This is another installment of the Southern Baller Show. And first of all, I want to say Happy Father's Day to all the good black men out there that doing their thing that do not get the credit they deserve. We appreciate all y'all, man. And we got a full house tonight, man. On this Saturday, this beautiful Saturday, man. And I appreciate all these brothers. They got other obligations, but they was able to hop on with me tonight. So I appreciate all of them. Started off with Coach 67 Sports TV. What's going on,
Man,
brother?
man, I'm blessed and highly favored. How y'all gentlemen doing this evening?
Cannot complain at all. Can't complain, man.
Bless, man. What's up, fellas?
What's going on, JB?
What's up, Coach? What's good with you?
I'm blessed and highly favored. Happy Father's Day to you, Big Joe. How you doing this evening, bro?
No, I'm chilling, bro. Just my daughter's in town. You know what I mean? Everything else is good, bro. I ain't got no complaints.
Man, that's a blessing, man. That's a blessing, bro.
Man, yeah. Happy Father's Day to you, Big Joe. Man,
I,
how you feeling, big man?
Oh, I'm feeling good, bro. Barbecuing right now for pops, so that way I can kind of chill out on Father's Day. So yeah, like I said, my daughter's in town, so hey, bro, I ain't got no complaints at all. We got matching Father's Day T-shirts that we gonna rock tomorrow. So hey, everything is all good, fam.
There you go.
hey,
There
great
you go.
minds think alike. We barbecuing too. So we won't have to cook
Already,
nothing tomorrow.
already.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And JB, how's everything going on your end, bro?
You know what it is, man. I'm just chilling, blessed to do another show. You know what I'm saying? We've been busy lately, and shout out to everybody that's been looking for us and missing us. But other than that, man, blessed, man, to
Yes,
be
sir.
on another show with y'all brothers.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Yeah. So Father's Day is tomorrow. So of course there will be no show tomorrow. That's why we're doing it today. Um. All right. So let's get into it, man. Let's get into it. So Shemar Stewart, the first round pick for the Cincinnati Bengals, may go back into the draft or be traded because of contract disputes. He's not liking the contract, first round contract the Cincinnati Bengals were trying to give him. So he's like, "F that! I've gotten more in NIL deals with Texas A&M." So that's created a whole bunch of commotion regarding people. The NIL deals cause this in the future for other first round draft picks. Coach, I'm going to you. What's your thoughts on this?
I think this is a kind of interesting turn of events. You know, even in a like HBCU landscape, not so much with Southern and other HBCUs, but when it comes to like somebody like Jackson State, who's kind of like the superpower in the swag, they got a lot of NIL money to play with. You know what I'm saying? So definitely when you come into like Power Five PWIs like Texas A&M, and the crazy thing about it is some of these guys, from a financial standpoint, it's more beneficial to them to stay in college because monetarily they're being compensated, especially if you play certain positions, like if you're a quarterback, if you're a cornerback, if you're an elite level pass rusher, if you're like a left tackle, it probably may be more beneficial to you. That's why you got guys like 25, 26, 27 that stand in college because they're going to get more NIL money on a college level than they do in the NFL. But I think the issue with the Shemar Stewart, I don't know why I'm trying to say Shemar Savage, but the interesting point with the Shemar Stewart situation is from a power dynamic, it's going to be interesting to see, even though he found a loophole in the CBA, it's an interesting dynamic. But in a grand scheme of things, I wonder how much leverage is he really gonna have, because if he re-enters the NFL draft, who's to say that NFL owners are not gonna do him the way they did Shador Sanders and maybe try to blackball him and like decrease his draft stock and his draft value, and he fall from being drafted in the first round, maybe to fall into the fifth round. So is an interesting power play, but how does it play out for him in the long run? It's going to be interesting to see, how things really truly play out. Does he have the leverage he thinks he has? Because that's one thing, whether it's in business, whether it's in relationships, in many instances, people think they have leverage when they really don't have leverage. And then in addition to that, they don't have they think they have bargaining chips when they really don't have bargaining chips. You know what I'm saying? So in his situation, if he was somebody like a Bo Jackson and he had the threat of playing Major League Baseball to dangle over the NFL, I think he would have leverage in that situation. But he really can't go back to college at this point. And him re-entering the NFL draft, if all the teams spited him for what he did and they don't want to create a precedent for what he did, for what he's trying to do, they don't want to create that type of precedent. They might try to blackball him or blacklist him. So I'm glad that he has the courage to stand on business and, pun intended, Big Joe. But it's going to be interesting to see if this power play goes wrong. So it's going to be interesting to see how things play out. But I don't know if he has the leverage that he thinks he has, especially if the Cincinnati Bengals and all the other NFL teams aren't willing to play hardball with him.
Okay. JB, what's your thoughts?
I'm enjoying it because the Bengals always do. And one thing I do agree with most of the things that Coach said, but one thing I disagree with was the fact that because the Bengals have a track record of trying to underpay their players. I don't know if you're aware of the thing that was going on before, even though Jamar Chase got his contract now, and T. Higgins, but right now Trey Henderson is not Hendrickson, excuse me, is holding out right now because they're trying to, feed him kibbles and bits. You know what I'm saying? So this is something that's known that the owners of the Bengals are very cheap. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, I don't mean
go
to
ahead.
cut you off. He came from the Saints, so definitely aware of Trey Henderson in his situation. They tried to trade him, and they really couldn't trade him. I think you're definitely right with the point you're making, but at least in his situation, he's an NFL vet. He's kind of earned his stripes. Whereas when you're coming out of college, a lot of times if you get drafted, where you get drafted, you slotted. So I don't think he could exceed the slot that he's been drafted in. If you slot it and you get drafted, just say the 10th pick, and I'm just spitballing, just using that as an example, and you're only supposed to get you're only supposed to get so much. How could you exceed that amount, especially when in the long run you might not really have the type of leverage you might think you have?
Right. So, and I was, and this is what I'm gonna tell you, Coach. Like I told Jared when we were discussing this topic, with the NIL and all the stuff going on with the NIL, these players are more contract savvy than the players of years ago. So they're not gonna sign no BS. They're gonna look at that. These players got agents now. I'm talking about freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year. They got agents because of NIL. You know what I'm saying? So these players ain't gonna sign no bull. They gonna like, what's that? What's the clause? No, I'm not signing that. So it sounds like this is what's happening with the Bengals. And again, I do agree with, like, I don't know if he can do that. Can he go back in the back to college or back in the draft? I don't know.
I don't think he could go back to college, but he could re-enter the draft because there's a loophole in the CBA that would allow him to do it. But the issue is, like I said, is he going to be
Right.
blacklisted after doing that? That's my concern for him.
I don't think he's gonna be blacklisted because it's the Bengals. Bengals are known for doing this to their players. And if he's the player like he think he is, or we think he is, or uh, the scouts think he is, he's gonna find a team. Somebody gonna give him a chance. But
Well, it's interesting you said that, JB, because the Panthers are talking about um, basically, in the runnings for to see if they can trade him to
see,
them. So yeah, it's they saying they got the money. They got the money to pay him. So we definitely gonna see it. And salute the 86 Ghost, man. I see you, brother. Appreciate you supporting. And look at your Discord, man, if you want to hop on. And I saved the best for last because we actually got a D1 athlete on here who experienced college ball and um, even had a trial with the NFL team. So this man lived it. Big
he
Joe.
was that nigga. Just say
Yeah,
he was that nigga.
he was that nigga. Big Joe. What's your opinion on all this?
Yeah, man, on all this, it's pretty interesting. You can look at it several ways. You can say that NIL, is a curse, and it's going to stop players from taking whatever deals when it comes to the NFL. I know they're already saying that already about college basketball. The guy who just got what's his name? He's about the guy from Duke who's about to get drafted. Supposedly he made something like $20 million
Cooper
playing at Duke.
Cooper Flag.
Cooper
Cooper
Flag.
Flag, yeah, supposedly made like $20 million at Duke. So they talk about him coming back another year to make more money, but he wants to go, play in the league. So no matter how much money they get paid in college you only got 3 or 4 years. 4 or 5 years if you're redshirt or whatnot. Most everybody wants to go to the league. So, as far as I know, the brother from the Bengals, he's the only one that has not signed his contract. Everybody else signed. Shador had a $3 or $4 million NIL deal, and he still got dropped the fifth round, and he signed his deal with the Browns. Dylan Gabriel signed his deal. Everybody else signed it except him. And like y'all said, the Bengals have they have a way of not paying their players or waiting to the last minute. If my understanding, there was some language in the contract that he had an issue with. More of the money is just the language that was in there. So only him and his lawyer know about that. But yeah, since he already declared for the NFL, he can't go back to college. He if nobody takes him, which I said the Panthers want him. There's a possibility he can go into the draft next year, or he could be in the I forgot what they call supplemental draft next year. He can go in that too. But last thing you want to do is be out a year from playing football, then try and play again. That's extremely difficult. So you don't want to miss no time, especially if you're a rookie and you're trying to get your feet wet. Last thing you want to do is take time off, and even though it's about business, a lot, your locker room, your teammates are gonna look at you a certain kind of way. So you definitely don't want to take a year off from playing ball. It's an unfortunate situation, but this is what the Bengals ain't got too much to stand on because they don't want to pay their top defensive end in the league. Averages 17 sacks, lead this league in sacks. You don't even want to pay him. So a lot of folks looking at them crazy already. So it's gonna be interesting from here on out. But again, this is just a one-off. There's not a lot of players who are getting NIL money who are not accepting the NFL contracts. It's just an isolated incident, with this rookie here in the Bengals. So again, you had high quarterback, high NIL earning players again, like Shador Sanders. He signed his contract. You think like 1 or 2 million, if that, for his total contract. So I mean, and you had the who was it? What's the brother name who left? Man, I'm blanking right now. One of the kids in college who was getting bread in college, he went to the league and he went undrafted. I forgot his name, but one of the quarterbacks. So, there's guys, who have dreams of playing in the NFL. So regardless of what their current NFL contract is, they still want to fulfill their dream. And if everybody knows about,
Oh, you talking
NFL
about
contract,
Quinn Ewer from
yeah, yeah,
Texas?
yeah, Quentin Ewers. There you go. Quentin Ewers from Texas. Yeah. He went undrafted. He supposed to make dumb money if he went to I think I heard like a smaller school, something like a Cincinnati or something like that, was offering big money, something like 6 million, and he turned that down. they go play in the league. So, but most people know you make most of your money, in your second contract in the NFL, not your first one. So, and then like back in the day when, like Sam Bradford or all the other guys on rookies was getting $50 million signing bonuses coming out the league, and then the veterans were all complaining about it. This ain't them times. They still get paid, but you want that 100, 200 million, that's going to be your second contract. So, this is an isolated incident, but I think somebody will trade for him. I'm hearing the Cowboys may want him too. I know the Cowboys need help at defense too. So, yeah, bro, we'll see.
All right. And
I want to ask Big Joe something real quick.
go
How
ahead,
you think it would have changed the landscape for you when you were in college? Had the NIL been a viable option in that day and time?
As far as changing the landscape, not much different because even back then, players are getting paid underneath the table anyways. So regardless if it was up front or was underneath the table, players were still getting paid. Money was still exchanging hands. Now you're doing it in a legal way. The great thing I love about the NIL money is that these guys are being forced. If they're gonna blow their money, they're gonna do it now in college. So by the way, by the time someone gets to the league, they already then got it out their system because when you get a big bag, your first big bag, you gonna blow it. You know what I mean? You're going to buy whatever. You're going to do this. You're going to look out for moms and all that kind of stuff. You're going to trick it off. You're going to buy a jewelry. You're going to buy a Rolex. You're going to buy a big Cuban link. You're going to do all that. So then by the time you get your second contract, you're a little more financial literate. So these kids now are learning now in college. They have to take financial classes and they're looking at investing, So the good thing is they're getting that out of their system early, So yeah, they may be driving, some of them may be driving Maybachs in college, but by the time they get to the league, to them, that'll be their second contract and they will know how to handle it better, hopefully some of them. So the best thing about this NIL is that it's forcing these guys and these coaches to push financial literacy to their students because when I was playing, that wasn't an issue. That was nothing that we even talked about, because it says you're a student athlete when it's really you're an athlete student first,
Yeah.
So as long as you get over to, as long as you sit in the front of the class, you'll get a seat, that kind of situation. So, so shout out to all the players now. Hopefully they learn to where even if guys don't make it to the league, they get that financial literacy now to where when they graduate college, they already got that training already. So that's the benefit I see from back then to now.
Okay.
I had to do some research myself. Actually, Quinn Ewers did get drafted in the 7th round. He was upset though. He went to the Dolphins, so he almost didn't get drafted.
Yeah, but he would have got more money in college than in the NFL. Though I know that.
Yeah, that was
True.
what Joe was saying. Yeah. And salute to J the Six man, Panthers fan in the building. He said Panthers drafted a better They drafted the better Texas A&M edge, Nick Scorton. Yeah, they did him in my opinion as well. Shemar was all hype anyway. Yeah.
So you saying he had Sergio Kendall?
Damn.
Ooh. Hey, that's insult, man. But back to
I'm just saying.
to the quarterback from Texas. From what I understood at one point, University of Miami, since Cam Ward, was leaving, supposedly they was trying to offer him $5 million too, but I guess he decided to come to the league, and I guess it didn't work out for him in terms of the draft.
Yeah, because Miami they got the Georgia quarterback. What's the old boy name? Was it Beck?
Carson Beck.
Yeah, they ended up getting Carson Beck, and and his girl happened to play, I think, women's basketball or something out there in Miami, and supposedly as soon as he got down there, that temptation got to him, and they didn't work out. You know what I mean? So, hey, there's a reason why my pops didn't want me to go to University of Miami offered me a scholarship. I always wanted to go there. I remember the days of the OG Miami when you had the Ray Lewis, when you had Sean Taylor, Clayton Portis, all of them were wearing the dark visors. Oh, I wanted to go there so bad. My dad's like, nope, you're not taking that recruiting trip. But he already knew. Lord have mercy, he already knew.
Man, shout out to Pops, man.
Shout out to Pops. Happy and speaking of Pops, happy Father's Day, man. There's Shelton in the building. Shelton LDBC or nothing.
Yeah, yeah. Cause Pop knows if I went down to Miami, I would have had a bunch of Shakur Stevensons running around. You dig what I'm saying?
Oh, uh, you crazy. Yeah, shout out to Mr. Shelton. Talk about some.
That
Oh yeah.
shit dead.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And here comes Mr. Shelton. Talk about some. Oh yeah. Brock, MF, and Purdy.
No, man, he
Oh Lord.
Brock Purdy
Oh, there
fanatic.
he go. Boy, he better be miraculous this year.
No, I
Because
ain't
if
like.
he ain't miraculous this year, I'm gonna flame your ass.
Yeah, he ain't got all that disposal this year.
J Bar says salute to the family in chat and to all the black fathers worldwide. Yes sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes sir. So do we need to still keep cooking on this? Anybody have anything else to say, or is it done? This
Oh
topic
It's
no,
done.
done.
I
Yeah,
think she get it done. You know.
okay.
Barbecue chicken.
Barbecue
Yes,
chicken
sir.
for real. Okay, okay. We can talk about them playoffs. Okay, we going in coach's territory. And Big Joe, he's pretty knowledgeable in basketball as well. Uh, SGA and company roars back to beat hot Pacers. Man, yesterday I thought, okay, man, they about to go up. The Pacers about to go up 3-1. They hot. Man, I turn around, do something. I was taking out the ribs out. I come back to the TB. Thunder done tied the game. Next thing next thing I know, they up and they won. They eventually won the game in Indiana. Now the series is 2-2. Uh, Big Joe, you was right. Last show you said it's gonna be a very interesting series, and it is. Um, Coach, how you think this is gonna play out?
I think whichever team wins Game 5 is gonna win the championship. And truthfully speaking, Vegas know what they're doing. There was a reason why coming into the finals, the Thunder were favorites. In some instances, the heavy favorites. I didn't. I didn't have them being a heavy favorite. I just had them being a favorite in general. I mean, they're two similar teams. The Pacers offensively they want to push the pace. In terms of OKC, they're a similar team, but they're extremely athletic. You know, big wings. Big athletic team. I think the issue with the Pacers is, even though Tyrese Halliburton, I'm not gonna lie, I know the Sacramento Kings kicking themselves because to keep it a buck, they probably should have traded De'Aaron Fox first and kept Halliburton. They traded Halliburton to the Pacers. They kept Fox. Then they traded Fox to the Spurs. I think they'd have kept Halliburton. They might have been straight. But either way, I think Halliburton, he good for setting the tone, the tempo. But I think the real X factor for the Pacers is Pascal Siakam. I think part of the reason why the Thunder was able to come back is because, man, uh, Pascal Siakam, I think he the best offensive player for the Pacers. I think he has the best mismatch or whatever. And
Yeah, he
instead of giving
does.
him the ball, they don't run plays for him. He don't get touches like he should. Man, hey, I'm gonna keep it a buck. I think the reason why they lost because they really didn't get Pascal Siakam the ball. I'm not gonna lie, at a certain point in the full quarter, I think I'd have been running every play for him. And no disrespect to Nimhart, and them other cats. I think they got a good team, Miles Turner, but I feel like Pascal Siakam is the best, but offensively, I think Halliburton, I think he's a star from the standpoint of, he could set the table, he could set the tempo, but your best offensive player is Pascal Siakam. But now the fact that they're going back to OKC, I think OKC gonna get Game 5, and I think it's gonna be a 7-game series, and I think OKC gonna win it in 7. But if I was the Pacers, I really would try to push to get this one game in OKC. And me personally, of course, the role players play better at home than they do on the road. But I would try to you know, make SGA give up the ball as much as possible and let Lou Dort, not so much, Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren, but like Lou Dort and some of the other ancillary role players like beat me. I'll try to double SGA as much as possible. All right, Lou Dort, let's see what you're gonna do. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, don't get me wrong. I know role players play better at home, but if I'm the Pacers, that would be my strategy. If I'm the Thunder, I would just kind of just do what I do. But I think the OKC Thunder, I think they're gonna win it in seven. That's just my personal opinion.
Okay, okay. All right, Mr. Shelton said, stop hating. Yeah, Brock Purdy bit a ball, and Jada Six said both teams take turns turning the ball over a lot each game. Yes, they do. They do.
Yeah, that's a major factor. I used to tell my players all the time. To this day, you know, turnovers is one of them really in both football and basketball. I'm a huge proponent of not turning the ball over. So you can't turn the ball over. Especially you playing against either one of those teams, both of those teams turning the ball over. If you the Pacers, turn the ball over, gonna feed OKC Thunder, they fast break. And the same thing if you OKC, you turn it over to the Pacers. You don't want to feed the other team getting out and running, you know what I'm saying? Especially with the live ball turnovers, Dead ball turnovers is one thing, but live ball turnovers, when you're playing against these two teams in the finals, man, that's a backbreaker.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Going to you, JB. What's your opinion on the final so far?
Hey, man, I'm enjoying it, man. I'm one of the ones that picked OKC to win, but I'm very impressed with Indiana. I didn't even see them getting out the first round. Um, but I agree every word that came out of Coach Mouth. I think Sayakam should get the more than the uh, the plays run through him, and I think that Halliburton is your tempo guy. Halliburton is he reminds me so much him and Jalen Brunson this year in the playoffs, where if you need a shot, if you down, if you need somebody to get hot, he's gonna get you a shot. He got ice in his veins. He's that type of player. Uh, but the Pacers, this is um, very good and winnable game for a series, I should say, for the Pacers. Um, I'm still picking OKC. I think that SGA is a baller. I think that they both have a deep bench, but I think I just like OKC bench better. Um, and it depends if Williams got to be consistent too, and Dart and the rest of them guys. So
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. Um, but don't get me wrong. In Indiana, had they been shooting, they can easily take over these series. Um,
and your lead ain't safe with them neither.
no, it's not at all. It's not at all. Big Joe, going to you. What's your opinion on the series so far?
Yeah, no, this is a really good series. You have two very good fundamental teams. You know, um, like I said, turnovers have been an issue in these playoffs. Especially these are the finals now, so literally every game counts. So every every mistake you have is magnified times 10 compared to the regular season. These are both great teams, but it's this is pressure. It's pressure basketball right now. So, but at the end of the day, no matter how good your team are, your stars have to be stars. If you're an MVP in the league, I'm gonna need you to play like it. And Shy showed up yesterday. The kid had 35 points. He only had he only went to the line one time in the first half. Second half, he went to the line like 5, 6 times in the fourth quarter. So he showed yesterday why I'm the MVP. A lot of folks said it should have been Jokic and all that kind of stuff. We said, okay, well, this is my moment. and he had a Jordan-esque kind of moment when he took over the game. In today's NBA, if you're down by 20, back in the early days, 90s, early 2000s, it'd be considered a blowout. Down by 20, oh, it's a wrap. But nowadays, you down by 20, you four threes away, don't only be down by 8. So, and we live
Right.
in a very, we live in a very 3-point, NBA right now. Halliburton, he really didn't show up yesterday. He only had 18 points, and he was 1 for 7 from the 3-point line. That's not gonna get it done. The highest scoring person on the team was Siakam by 20. Now I know the Pacers are kind of they're a committee team. They need to get everybody involved, but Tyrese, even though Siakam is that dude, you ought to start playing on the team. You're at home. There's no reason why you should be 1 for 7 for a three and only have 18 points. You just shouldn't be. So they're getting out rebounded on the glass, obviously. Chet Holmgren had 15 rebounds. So and he had 11 defensive rebounds. So they both got 1-1 in each other's house. The biggest thing in this playoff, regardless of anything else, your stars have to be stars. There's no reason why the Patriots should have lost that game last night when they were literally up, like I said, by 20 points or more. They were literally. I'm watching the game like, okay, well, this is over. Let me go ahead and scroll and do some other stuff, and I pay attention. Before I know it, they down by 1 or 2. Before you know it, steals, missing 3-point shots, not getting rebounds, not being ready for the moment. They are both young teams. They both ain't been there before. So we're gonna find out, who really got who. It's not like they got a lot of veterans who've been there and I know what it's like and all that kind of stuff. I think the only veteran that's been there is the white guy.
Siakam.
Yeah, Siakam and the white guy who plays for the
Alex
Thunder. He's been there
Caruso.
before.
Alex Caruso.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, he was there with the Lakers. So, it's not a very veteran heavy team with guys with experience of being in the NBA finals. So everybody's literally figuring out on the fly. And shout out to SGA, he's showing you again why he's an MVP. Now it's time for because now they're gonna go back to Indiana. I'm sorry, they're gonna go back to OKC. We're gonna see is Halliburton, is he gonna show up the next game? Because if they don't win the next game, to me, I think it's over after that. So Pacers have to win the next game.
Yeah.
I don't have a winner in this series. I'm a Warriors fan. So I really been paying these teams too much attention. I'm really a Warriors fan. I don't like switch hats and have different team hats and stuff like that. Like some
Right.
folks we know. What I mean? I actually go to the games and sit on the floor. What I mean? So, I really do this. Unlike some folks, who don't go to the games, but they got like a whole bunch of other teams' hats. So, but anyways, uh, shout out. I know a lot of folks are not really watching the finals because it's kind of boring because you got two small market teams and a lot of players are not as defined. Only guy that's really getting a lot of buzz is SGA. Only reason why Halliburton is getting the cracking because he was on that so-called list of the most overrated. So now some folks are just watching him, but this is still great, high quality basketball. This is almost similar to the basketball that they play in Europe. So this is kind of how they play. But I will say there was a lot of ticky tack fouls yesterday. Normally in the playoffs, they let them play or whatnot. I've seen a whole lot of hand checking, weird calls. I've seen SJ travel and nobody ain't say nothing.
I ain't gonna lie.
So
That's what gonna be my add
No,
on
I ain't gonna lie
question.
to you.
A lot of
Yeah.
people complain about SGA pushing off, or he getting a lot of
oh yeah,
ticky tack fouls.
yeah.
Because we all watch the games. Are we seeing? Do y'all agree with that? Big Joe just answered on it.
I'm guessing because he's the MVP now, he gonna get that LeBron, Jordan, Kobe treatment. Now I don't know, maybe.
Man, I'm gonna
So
keep it. Jordan used to do stuff like that and get away with stuff like that all the time. Not only the pushing off, even if you remember in the finals when they played against the Jazz, he pushed Byron Russell and he crossed over and hit the game-winning shot. So that's what superstars get. I mean, I know Charles Barkley, talked about it, hoop house highlights like after the game, this, that, and the third, NBA TV and all that. But man, that's superstar treatment. So that's to be expected. To me, that ain't really no big deal. But superstars get superstar calls and superstar treatment. But just to, yeah, and Anthony Bolton said he took like 5 steps, but you got to realize, uh, I think that was Neesmith. I think he was like holding him. So really, he kind of dislodged and he kind of gave him a little forearm shiver, and he stumbled. Then he kind of stepped back a few extra steps after he was able to get rid of him. So that was kind of more stumbling, but he did travel. But like I said, Jordan used to get away with that all the time. But in terms of going back to what he said, I think he made a valid point when he was talking about Halliburton. But even with that being said, Halliburton, he more of a tone setter in terms of tempo. I think from a scoring standpoint, they don't run plays for Pascal Siakam at all. They really don't run plays for him. But he your best offensive matchup. So I don't understand why Rick Carlisle don't go to him more. I really don't. I don't understand it for the life of me. As a coach, I'm trying to get the ball to my best player, and whether I'm running plays for him, running sets for him, I'm trying to get him going. But when they had that drought, I think that's the reason why they struggled, because they really didn't get Siakam the ball. I think he was the only one that really had the advantage offensively.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with all your points. Salute to Memphis man Anthony Bolton. He said, "Happy Father's Day to everyone." Yes, sir. And he said, "Salute." He said SGA took 5 steps. J6 said, even on the last shot, allegedly he pushed off. SGA did the cha-cha slide before he took the shot. Yeah, I
I don't
think
know.
because everybody
I
complain
think
on the
that
internet, I think they're gonna watch that carefully. Go ahead.
no, I'm not gonna lie. I think that was more like boots on the ground and cha-cha slide. You feel?
Yeah, man, but this overall this has been an entertaining finals, man. And I'm satisfied because we've been complaining about for the past few years, couple of years about the playoffs and the finals being boring, not that entertaining. Well, here we go. Will
Yep.
anybody disagree with me that say this is probably the most entertaining finals that we haven't had in a couple of years? Am I wrong on that?
Nah, just not the finals, the whole playoffs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
The
I'm not
whole
gonna lie.
playoffs.
I but to say because of course, the NBA, they want the big market teams. That's why a lot of people, because I mean, even if you look at somebody that you know that played in the NBA with your boy from 520 podcast, he played for the Hawks. Shucks. In fact, he's from Indiana. He was talking about how it really don't feel special. I can't think. I'm blanking on the whole boy name. But anyway, he was saying that he didn't. It didn't feel like it didn't feel special. It didn't feel like the finals. And they even talked about it on Gil's Arena. Of course, how they not putting the Larry O'Brien trophy logo on the baseline, and just how basically the NBA pushing more the in-season tournament than they doing the actual NBA finals, which I think to me is a little bit problematic. Yeah, Anthony Bow, Jeff Teague, yeah. Jeff Teague was saying it don't really feel special, and I kind of disagree. I think this playoffs in general, it's kind of been like you said, entertaining, but of course, I think I'm kind of like a little bit of a throwback. We talked about it earlier on, on our show when we talked about the Wire versus the Snowfall. Prior to this, I'm kind of nostalgic at a certain degree.
hmm
So I'm a coach, so I like a little bit more defense. I like the fact that both teams are real good defensive teams. Both teams are like up tempo type teams, but I'm not gonna lie. In certain instances, I like SG in mid range game, but I don't think at certain points with all these 3 points, I don't mind as a coach you taking 3-point shots, but I want paint touches. You're looking at in that fourth quarter with the Indiana Pacers, like a lot of those 3-point shots they was taking, the ball wasn't touching the paint before they was jacking up them shots. So that was one of the issues I had. But overall, I think it's been a entertaining playoff run and entertaining NBA Finals. Me personally.
I agree. I definitely agree. What you about to say, JB?
I was just saying, man, just from the watching the Knicks and the Pistons, and from round one to now, I've been really enjoying these playoffs.
Yeah, yeah, it's been good. It's been very good this year. All right, have we cooked on this topic, fellas? Oh, we good to move on?
Oh yeah,
It's cooked.
she
Barbecue
definitely.
chicken.
Barbecue chicken. There we go. All right. Was Aaron Rodgers signed to fire Mike Tomlin? And we touched on it a little bit last show, but we this is more of a broader question regarding to if their intentions. Well, it's a chess move on the board to do this to get rid of the brother. Coach, what you think? Is this just speculation or a conspiracy, or you think this is really happening?
Bro, I'm not gonna lie. To me, I think for the last couple seasons, they kind of been moving the fire of Mike Tomlin. And a lot of times you don't realize what you have until you're gone. You have a certain sense of entitlement. I'm just gonna use a relationship analogy, right? Let's say you're a guy and you got a good chick and you don't appreciate her. Or if you're a woman and you got a good man and you really don't appreciate that guy, you don't value him, you don't respect him the way he should, and you take him for
Hmm.
granted. Once he's gone and y'all no longer together, you just focus on what you're not getting. You know, there's this 80-20 rule that people talk about in relationships. You're only gonna get 80% of what you really need. And a lot of times you just focus on the 20% you're not getting, you overlook the 80% that you are. And you throw away the 80 that you have for the 20 that you feel like you're not getting. And then you don't realize what you got until it's gone. I think the Steelers have kind of been from a not from an organizational standpoint, but I think from a fan base standpoint, I think they've been kind of moving the fire Mike Tomlin for the last couple of years. Hey, y'all might have to F around and find out. If they get rid of him, hey, I'm telling you, it's gonna be it ain't sweet because even if you look at the NBA, you look at the New York Knicks situation, like they fired Tom Thibodeau, and they dumbasses really didn't have a plan for once they fired the man. Now you trying to hire coaches from active coaches on other NBA teams like Jason Kidd. You trying to hire active NBA coaches. Well, you should have thought about that before you fired him. So unless you got a plan right now in mind, like, hey, we're gonna go to North Carolina and try to get Belichick, or we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. Unless you got a plan in mind, if you actually gonna pull that trigger and fire Mike Tomlin, if the season don't go, if it go the way people think it's gonna go, because even Brent Fox, he adamant about him boycotting the Steelers season. But hey, tell y'all, if y'all pull that trigger, y'all better, y'all better y'all better have a backup plan, have a plan in place for if you do fire him for one. But second of all, I'm not gonna lie, I think signing Aaron Rodgers was a dumbass move in my personal opinion. Me personally, initially I was like, well, hey, I understand the quarterback market for quarterbacks in the NFL. It's not that great. And it was a game of musical chairs. And basically, they didn't want to overpay for one of these quarterbacks. So us and Aaron Rodgers were the last two standing. But I mean, truthfully speaking, if you look at the Cleveland Browns situation, they're gonna have to probably let go one of their quarterbacks, and even the New York Giants. I mean, hey, there's a strong possibility that Jameis Winston probably end up getting cut. Hopefully they cut him. He come back to the Saints because I want him back in New Orleans. That's me being selfish and kind of piggybacking off of Joe Townsend's point earlier. Like, I'm loyal to the soil. Like I'm a Saints fan, Pelicans fan. Even though I know both teams probably gonna be trash this season, I ain't bandwagon jumping. They my teams and I'm riding with them. In our day we grew up with being loyal, but my players nowadays, one year they're a Brooklyn Nets fan, and next year they Phoenix Suns fan and a Golden State Warriors fan. Nah, I mean, don't do all that damn bandwagon jumping. If that's your team, ride with them and rock with them. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I think signing Aaron Rodgers was stupid, but I think it might have been a gateway to them firing Mike Tomlin. But if they fire him, hey, they might F around and find out. So, hey, if you fire him, you better have a plan in place for if you do fire him.
I agree, man. Anthony Bolton said if the Steelers get rid of Tomlin, especially since they didn't get Shador Sanders, they are screwed. You know what? That reminded me of something. So I was watching a show during this past week. Um, this old WCW wrestler has a podcast, and he had another WCW wrestler as a guest um, on the show. So he's a Steelers fan, and I put in the comic section that I was kind of nervous for the Steelers of getting Shador Sanders because y'all needed a quarterback, and I believe Shador Sanders will do good under Mike Tomlin. His response was, "Yeah, but the thing is, I'm not." He said he doesn't understand what people see, the talent that people see in Shador Sanders, and basically, to save you a long-winded story, uh, basically saying that they don't need Shador Sanders. The signing of Aaron Rodgers is going to be good because Mike Tomlin is going to find a way. Going to find a way, which is the previous shows that me, Big Joe, and JB cooked on, especially Big Joe, and it was his brother. I don't understand why a lot of Steelers fans don't want Shador Sanders as their quarterback, and they need a damn quarterback. You can never get me to never get me to understand that ever. Ever. JB, what's your thoughts on it?
I think they can do whatever they want. I mean, as far as who they have as their quarterback, either way, we're gonna whip their ass. You know. So that's my opinion on it. I think Mike Tomlin is gonna get. Um, and by the way, fellas, I'm taking my dog out, so just bear with me one moment. Bear with me 1 second.
No problem. While we waiting on JB, yeah, man, I to get my opinion on, I don't think it's a conspiracy to get rid of Mike Tomlin, but it's not a good move to help the brother out at all. Signing Aaron Rodgers because that fan
It,
base is wanting the Pittsburgh Steelers either to win a Super Bowl or at least to go deep in the playoffs. Go ahead, JB, take it over.
it's just one of the things we're gonna have to see. Um, like I said, man, it worked with Joe. We talking about like people talking about Joe Flacco. It worked, but he looked good in Cleveland for those couple of games. When Deshaun Watson went down, or just be a backup QB. I don't know how Aaron. This is not the what was the division that the Jets and the Saints and the Miami is in? Was it AFC East? I believe
No, the Saints are
it's
definitely
not that division.
yeah.
So we got killers on in our division as far as on the defensive side of the ball. So um, I hope Mike Tomlin got something up his. We're gonna beat them twice this year. That's what I think.
What you about to say?
Say that again, bro.
What were you was about to say something?
No, no, no. He was
One
saying
moment.
no. He was saying
I'm out.
the Saints was in the AFC East. The Saints wasn't in the AFC. I think he was mixing up divisions. I think he was mixing up the NFC South and the AFC East.
Yeah, yeah, I caught that too.
Yeah.
But Big Joe, what's your thoughts?
Yeah. To get back to the original question, all I know is that he's been a tenure coach there for a long time. He's been the staple of consistency. Not too many NFL teams can consistently win, be over 500, for going on with like 17, 18 years, how long he's been there. He is a Super Bowl winning head coach. He has made, he has made lemonade out of lime juice. You dig what I'm saying? So he
Always,
can do,
yes.
what I mean, he can make it shake. He's a leader of men, and men gonna follow him. There was the narrative of maybe they need a new voice in the locker room. Maybe the guy's not responding to him. Well, all I know is supposedly T.J. Watt's not happy in
Mm,
Pittsburgh. They're not giving him what he wants. He might be going out the door and possibly going somewhere else. You know,
mm,
so so is it a Mike Tomlin issue, or is the organization, changing overall? So if they're changing overall to where the players are not happy, then it might not be a Mike Tomlin issue, just an organizational issue. But then people will say, well, they've had, troublesome wide receivers, from Brown to Juju Smith Schuster, and then now Pickens, and, Travius Bryan, the list goes on. But at the end of the day, even with all that going on, this team's still been over 500, and he's been consistent, and the players still listen to him. Now, as a head coach, you're only as good as your quarterback. Since the reason why Antonio Pierce ain't with the Raiders no more, he had no quarterback and he got a raw deal. And we know how they do with black quarterbacks in the NFL. So nobody else wanted Aaron Rodgers. Nobody. Let's not act like Aaron Rodgers had all these teams to select from. He literally waited till mandatory minicamp to even sign for the Steelers. Nobody knew what he was going to do. Steelers were just waiting for him. So yes, they drafted Will Howard. Yes, he is a Division One NCAA champion. All that is true. But is he ready to lead men in the NFL yet? I don't know. We
mm,
gonna see.
yeah,
I read his draft report on this show, and hey, it's way worse than Shador's. Um, but I think this might be the time for Mike Tomlin to move on. Because you draft a guy like Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if he wanted him or not, but we have Mike Tomlin. He brought in a Dwayne Haskins, who tragically passed away. He's brought in Justin Fields. He brought in, Russell Wilson. And now to the point where they're all gone, and you left with a Will Howard, and then you left with a Aaron Rodgers. So yeah,
yeah,
they got some wide receivers over there. But is Aaron Rodgers a leader? Not Aaron Rodgers may be a lot of things. He may be a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He may be whatever, but is he a leader of men? Absolutely not. I feel like when Aaron Rodgers is there, he's going to divide the locker room, and then it's going to get to a point where Mike Tomlin might get pushed out. But there has been organizations who had long tenure coaches and got better afterwards. Marvin Lewis was with the Bengals for a long time. To let go of Marvin Lewis, and the Bengals are, a thriving organization with a good quarterback, good offense, need a lot of help on defense, but they have gotten better. And then you can look at the Dallas Cowboys, who had Jimmy Johnson. They were winning, doing their thing. They fired Jimmy Johnson. The Cowboys ain't been relevant since. So, it's a slippery slope. Who's going to replace Mike Tomlin? Who knows? Is there another Mike Tomlin to win? Because again, nobody knew who Mike Tomlin was either
yeah,
until he got put on. He got put on, and then he's a legend that he is. But we gonna see. And regarding the Shador, a lot of Steelers fans say they don't want Shador. Okay, cool. If y'all don't see what y'all see in Shador, then Kurt Warner sees something in Shador, and I believe Kurt Warner is a Hall of Fame quarterback, won Super Bowls, and all that kind of stuff. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback, and he sees the goods in Shador. Tom Brady, future Hall of Fame quarterback, some call him the GOAT. And he sees a lot in Shador. He said that he's the goods. So we got two Hall of Fame caliber quarterbacks saying he's the goods, but then you're saying I don't see it. Well, then sound like your opinion don't matter. So you got people who actually play the position at a high level that actually see what they see. So then some may say, well, how come the Raiders didn't pick him? Well, the Raiders already had Geno Smith. So they don't need a quarterback. And Geno Smith is a fairly young guy compared to an Aaron Rodgers. Anywho, I think it might be Mike Tomlin's last year because I think there's going to be a lot. Not only there's a division in the organization, but there's going to be a division in the locker room. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to drive the wedge in there. That's going to cause a brother to be out the door.
Mm.
And I mean, not only that, but Aaron Rodgers is not the Aaron Rodgers he was like 10 years ago.
That's what
So I
Anthony
don't
Bolton
know.
just is saying. Yep.
I don't know if they think they're gonna wave a magic wand and get the Aaron Rodgers of old. And the crazy thing about it, a lot of times when you got somebody of his magnitude, like a superstar caliber player, or that once was a superstar, in their mind they still think they're that person that they once were. You know, even I remember like Allen Iverson when he was with the Pistons and other teams. I'm like, dude, like AI, you not the guy that you once were. You know what I'm saying? And I think in Aaron Rodgers' mind, he still think he the Aaron Rodgers that played for the Green Bay Packers like 10 years ago. Dude, you're not that guy no more.
Can y'all hear me?
You can hear you now.
Okay, so this is what I was saying earlier. So as far as Mike Tomlin being sabotaged, or did they sign Aaron Rodgers to be fired? Now, me personally, as a Baltimore Ravens fan, I love it. I don't really care. I think we're gonna beat their ass twice this year. However, on a serious note, just a football perspective, I think I don't blame people for thinking that because you had Justin Fields to me got more upside as any quarterback you could have drafted other than Shador under Mike Tomlin. And you won games with it. It showed last year you could win games with Justin Fields. Then you let go of Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, you know, showed last year he wasn't the player that he used to be, but he wasn't trash. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't like him in that Denver offense anyway with Sean Payton anyway. Um, as far as them picking Aaron Rodgers, and I'm with uh I see I'm blanking on the brother's name. I'm with Brent Fox on this one because I don't see what he can do for the Steelers as far as because he don't move around like that no more. And this is not the AFC East. This is the NFC North. That's what I was saying earlier. This is the AFC. I mean AFC North, where three of the four teams defenses are top 10. Hell, top 5. The Browns, the Ravens, and the Steelers. And then the Bengals got the best, probably one of the best offenses in the league. So you better pull up points, you know what I'm saying? And you better have a solid defense. So I just think that with this move that the Pittsburgh did, I think they're trying to rebuild. This is just my opinion. They moved him in just to start over.
So you're saying they just signed him for 1 year to basically
To
start
be a
that
bridger
rebuild?
quarterback.
Okay.
To be a bridger quarterback, basically.
Okay. Well, we'll definitely see. Like Big Joe said, we will definitely see. And speaking of Big Joe, he dropped off. Adam back when he Comes back on, but yeah. I agree with everyone, everything that everyone says, man. Um, uh, we definitely gonna see what's going on. It's gonna definitely be interesting to see how everything plays out. Definitely gonna see, man. But we gonna move on. This is cooked. Now we're gonna get to the final topic, man. Football and mental health, man. What the heck is going on? Well, we have an idea what's going on with Brother Brown, but Antonio Brown out here tripping. What's going? What's Did anybody hear about him starting fights or fighting someone? What's going on with that?
From what I heard on social media, I don't know what Big Joe or JB heard, but from what I heard on social media, he started a fight, and evidently he took out a weapon and he tried to fire it. I don't know if it went off or whatever, but they trying to charge him with attempted murder. Attempted
In
murder.
Miami, yeah.
And I think the thing about it is, when he was with Pittsburgh, I really didn't see the mental health issues, but that last year he was with Pittsburgh, I kind of really started to see him surface. But when
Mm-hmm.
he went to the Raiders, like they really became prevalent. And then after that, he just kind of spiraled out of control with me, and, in my personal opinion. So I don't know if he has CTE, but I think he definitely has mental health issues. You know, I don't know how many concussions he's had. I don't know what his concussion history is. I mean, he clearly has mental health issues. I mean, you have to be. I think Stevie Wonder could see that he has mental health issues. So at the end of the day, I don't know, if he has CTE or what his concussion history is, but he has clear signs, in my personal opinion, of mental health issues. So I don't know. Hopefully everything works out for him. From what I understand, his monetary situation isn't the best. So at the end of the day, like, it's a sad situation to see him spiral out of control the way he has.
Yeah, it is. It's very sad, man. This is not a laughing matter. We've seen a lot of past, and like you said, we can't confirm if he has CTE or not. But I tell you this, he acting like he got the symptoms, and we can go on forever. Like Junior Seau, um, Mike Webster, you see in the picture, Marion Barber. I mean, on and on. Uh, JB, what's your opinion?
I think every since he got hit by Vontez Burfict in I think it was that playoff game, he ain't never been the same. And 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 I think the brothers in the LDBC has talked about this, especially when it comes to mental health. Everybody, having them on their podcasts, entertaining them. They need to get this brother some help. So they know there's something wrong with that boy. I knew something wrong with that boy when he was throwing gummy candy penises at his egg. That fool crazy. So where would you even get that? You know what I'm saying? So um, I'm just the only thing I can do is just pray for the brother. Looks like hearing, just some of what Coach is saying and me doing some research himself. He could be myself. He could be facing some jail time for that incident. So only thing I can do is pray for the brother. Hopefully, in the future, it turns out well for him.
No, from what I saw on social media, they say he looking at life in prison. From what I saw, I don't know how true it is or not, but
So a lot of jail time.
yeah, an awful lot of jail time.
And that's pretty much all I got to say about the Brown situation.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's okay. Let's hear from Big Joe, man. What you think? What's going on?
I got a little different approach from y'all. You know, I don't care what's going on with Antonio Brown. I ain't got no sympathy for him.
Mm,
The reason why I ain't got no sympathy for him is because when everybody originally was saying, "Hey man, something wrong with him, something wrong with him," hey, something wrong with him. Nah, man, he know what he doing. Nah, man, he know what he doing, man. He's smart. You know, same way with Kanye West. Nah, man, he know he just trolling. He just playing. He know what he doing. He working himself out with the Raiders so he can get a better situation, man. He know what he doing. Okay, cool. So right now he know what he doing then. You know, he got time to troll every other black person. He can crack jokes all day long. You can be on Twitter talking about crack of the day, all that kind of stuff. All that stuff is funny and cute. Until you get into some real trouble, we gonna see if them crackers gonna take care of you now. If they gonna help you out.
mm.
We on a daily basis we talk about brothers who be cooning and acting a fool and all that kind of stuff. And now we on here talking about praying for him and feeling sorry for him. I have no sympathy for him. He said everybody say he know what he doing. Until Kanye West go crazy, oh, we need to pray for him. No, they know what they doing.
Mm.
We got too many brothers out here who are trying to do the right thing for us to give some lame duck has been some sympathy. Antonio Brown could have still been in the league if Antonio Brown didn't act a fool, CTE or not. He's not the kind of person who's worthy of need to be coddled and taken care of. When he throw furniture over a 15-story balcony, nobody cared. When he throw gummy penises at baby mama, nobody cared. When he was acting a fool on social media and trolling everybody else, nobody cared. And all of a sudden now, he's getting some trouble because he didn't pull out a pistol. We need to worry about him. No, I'm not worried about him. I'm gonna treat him just like I treat every lame brother who is not beneficial to our community. I'm gonna let them go on goofy time and then let them expire. Cause somebody like AB, they gon' bug out. Let them bug out and let them expire on their own way. You know what I mean? So he's getting everything that obviously he know what he's doing. That's what they've been telling me. So maybe this will help him promote his album. I know he's trying to be a rapper. You know, then maybe to help him get his career off the ground. Maybe now he got some clout. You know, he turned the pistol, he pulled it out and whatnot. So now, you know, he can do his little mixtape cover. So that might be what he's doing. So he know what he's doing. So no, I ain't got no sympathy for him. Cause we got too many brothers out there who win the Walter Payton Man of the Year awards, doing good in their community, doing the right thing, helping our kids for us to feel sorry about Antonio Brown. For what? What has he done to the community that really was to pray for? Besides going on Twitter and talking about crack the other day. So nah, I ain't got it. So if y'all want to pray for him, cool. I ain't got nothing for him. Whatever happened to him, that's what's supposed to happen to him. Because remember, he know what he doing.
And that's Father's Day
Damn.
truth. And that's Father's Day truth from Big Joe.
No, I'm not gonna
And
lie. Big Joe make a very valid point. But even when the brother AB was spiraling out of control, not that AB, I'm talking about Adrian Broner. And Adrian Broner doing the
right.
same, and it was saying the same things about him. But I'm like, look, bro, that's the problem. He got too many. AB got too many yes men around him. Like this dude clearly
Mm,
he has issues with alcoholism. Like he's clearly alcoholic. Like, look, man, instead of y'all being yes men and being flunkies, then y'all need to drag this nigga to rehab and get him some goddamn help because he clearly has issues. If y'all have got the boy the help he needs, he could have been on a path to sobriety, and he could have got back to his boxing career, and he might not have spiraled out of control the way he did. So even though uh uh Big Joe makes a very valid and accurate point, at the same token,
accurate.
if you see somebody self-destructing and you can prevent them from self-destructing, like why not help them? I mean, that's my thing. So I mean, the AB situation, both Antonio Brown and Adrian Broner, they both are cautionary tales. But at the same token, when you got people around you that love you and that could help you and prevent you from self-destructing, I think that's the most important thing because guess what? If I was a situation where, even though to Big Joe's point, hopefully I'd have done more in my community, help my community than than Antonio Brown. But at the same token, if I was spiraling out of control, I would hope my family members and my people around me would keep me from self-destructing and try to help me as opposed to just letting me spiral out of control. So that's my perspective when I look at like Antonio Brown and Adrian Broner and and Kanye West and individuals like that who clearly have mental health issues.
And and that man, I just enjoy listening to the brother's perspective when we talk about these topics. I agree with everything that Joe said and Coach. You know, uh, from different angles. Because as for when I say pray, I know for a fact that that nigga ain't got nobody in his corner telling him the truth or to help him out. They'll let him do this bullshit because he can run a ball, he can play football. Same thing with, like you coach said, Adrian Broner. Because he can box, he got skills. They let this dude do whatever he want. His daddy ain't gonna say nothing to him. You can- like Town said, all these niggas got enablers around him. Oh, like Town said, ain't nothing wrong with him. There's something is wrong with that nigga. You know something wrong with him. Like I said, he throwing gummy bear dicks at his or candy dicks at his ex and throwing uh throwing furniture out the balcony, and then he bugging out on Bruce Arians, probably one of the coolest coaches in the NFL when he was with the Bucks, and then on the Raiders, he's just bugging out the stuff. So as far as what I'm saying, getting him some help, you have to have a bunch of people that's going to tell you the truth so you can get that help. And it's just sad, man. It's sad.
And then when you try, and then if a person tries to get you some help, is that individual gonna listen?
That's another thing. There's just a lot of layers to it. So when people say they don't feel sorry for him, I
You
can't
can't
blame him,
debate it.
bro.
You cannot,
I can't,
because
because
like
he's been on the internet tripping.
Man, no. This is my thing.
Right,
AB and AB, both of them, they have both had opportunities, multiple second chances. These are not brothers who just one and done. How many teams
right,
AB done been on? AB done been on about 3 or 4 different teams.
yeah,
Adrian
right.
Broner, and if you're talking about mentor, somebody show him the right way, Mike Tomlin's a leader of men. If he gonna listen to Mike Tomlin, who he gonna listen to?
yep,
And
Or
you got
Bruce Arians. Right.
and you got AB, the boxer. He got Al Heyman as his advisor. If you don't listen to Al Heyman, then who you gonna listen to? My
man.
point is, some brothers are meant to self-destruct, no matter how much help they get. But the thing is, we focus so much
Mm.
on helping them. There's a lot of brothers out there who try to do the right
That
thing, don't
need the
even get
help.
no look or don't get no help because we're too busy focusing on brothers like AB and AB. Oh man, it's a shame. Well, take some of that shame and give it to somebody who really needs it, who's really trying to do the right thing. Dig what I'm saying? Take some of
Yeah,
that
Right.
shame and give it to Cam Hayward. Take some of that shame and give it to Bryce Young. Take some of that shame and give it to Shador. Brothers who actually doing the right thing. So I ain't
Jameis
got time.
Winston.
I ain't got time for the monkey show and the minstrel show. At the end of the day, they all had opportunities and they rather do things they way. They rather spawn their opportunities. Not that many brothers get 3, 4 opportunities. There's not.
Well, his opportunity about to run out because he about to take the long ride, boss.
Hey, and all this happening because you put in life, you put in with what you get out. You put out all this negative
Right.
energy, you talk crazy about everybody else. Now when they put the spotlight on you, ain't nobody gonna have no sympathy for you. So again, they both self-destructful. We can call it mental health, we can call it whatever. Them brothers done had a lot of help and a lot of support, and they neglected it. So that's their fault. We all got, as men, we all make decisions in life, and you got to live with your own decisions. Whether if you have gotten help or not, you have to make. You lay in your bed, you got to sleep in it. So AB and both ABs, you got to sleep in the bed you laid in. It's not my fault that AB then had multi-million-dollar contracts and then also was a rapper and got arrested also 10, 15 times, got 8, 9, 10 children. How am I gonna feel sympathy for somebody like that when we got brothers like me and other brothers who are doing it the right way? I ain't got no sympathy at all.
True.
So a whole point is we need better examples of men who doing it the right way and who gonna push the community forward. Brothers like AB and AB, they're not gonna push the community forward. Who's AB little homie? Tank. Is Tank pushing the community forward? No.
Nope.
Nope. Hell no.
Who's AB for the fight on football player? Who's his little homie? He ain't got none because he's selfish. Don't
None.
care about nobody else but himself.
Yeah, it's not that hard. It's not that hard to figure out. So these two people in this picture, one did
Well,
it
I
to
don't know
himself.
about the other one.
But yeah,
Oh yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Mike West has proven that Mike Webster had CTE. I
Right.
don't really know much about his character. It was a little bit before my time. But as far as talking about like Big Joe, they were saying the black community, brothers, because there was brothers who had, I know for a fact, that had CTE. That were, like Big Joe, good brothers helping their community and needed help. Jay, come on, JB, we heard the stories. Needed help.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At the house suffering with headaches. You know what I mean? But still, doing the yearly leagues, for the kids, learning how to play football, whatever, or throwing barbecues, all that. But
Yeah,
they
Like
suffering.
Warren Sapp. Warren
Yeah.
Sapp said he having symptoms of it.
Yeah.
And he coaching
like-
football. He got that color. You right, man. That's why I'm signing it. Hey, Tanner right, man. That's just another perspective I gotta look at. That a lot of these people, when we keep talking about we labeling mental health, not all of these motherfuckers is crazy. They use that as an excuse to do foul shit, and that's another perspective that nobody want to talk about.
And Sambo and Coon shit, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Big Joe made, like I say, multiple accurate points. But we talk about Mike Webster. We even talk about Junior Seau. Like Junior Seau evidently, he had a stellar reputation, but look how his life tragically ended. So, there are instances where individuals, sometimes they spiraling out of control because they got CTE, and they quietly spiraling, and nobody knew because who would have known Junior Seau would have did what he did. So, I mean, it's a tough pill to swallow when you playing a violent collision sport like that. You don't know what the ramifications are going to be down the line. I mean, they say if you play in the NFL, you taking at least 17, 18 years off your life expectancy. So we don't know from a mental standpoint with a lot of these NFL players what's going on upstairs with them. So that's all, the point I was making in both of these instances with both of these ABs. One was a boxer, got a lot of head trauma. The other one, an NFL player, former NFL player. So, I try to give people the benefit of the doubt.
Nah, but with them two brothers, like Big Joe said, with the benefit of the doubt is gone.
But before CTE, they was Negroes before CTE. So I mean, it ain't like they were
Exactly.
model citizens, and all of a sudden they got CTE and turned into fools. They've been fools. If we want to do that, then we can point to Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis got in trouble, and after that, he was a model citizen. After that, so what's AB's excuse then? Ray Lewis was on. He almost lost his life. He's on there for a murder charge. They still bring that up to this day. Michael Vick went to jail for not snitching for them dogs. After that, he got out, changed his life around, became a model citizen. So what's AB's excuse?
Yeah.
And don't get me started on that, Joe. His punk ass cousin. Ain't taking the fall for him.
I'm just saying, we got brothers who have made mistakes, got out, done the right thing, and they both play football. So we talking about CTE. Ray Lewis done knocked niggas out on how many years? Michael Vick then got concussions too. So what's the excuse for them brothers?
None. So we look to try to get excuses for the dudes like AB and Adrian Broner, but we forget about all these dudes who went through that and still chose to do the right thing.
We need less ABs and more Reggie Whites. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Oh. What was it? The Minister of Defense? Yeah, yes, Lord.
Boy, this was a good topic, man.
I took the show. I knew. I told you when I told you let's talk about this time. I knew somebody was gonna give us a good perspective.
Yeah, man. But man, speaking with people, brothers doing what they supposed to and getting not getting the shine or not even shine, just the respect. Um, Black men, man, enjoy your day. Do something, even if your kids is tripping and you ain't got nobody's man. Take yourself out. Treat yourself, man. The good ones. I ain't talking about the buster ass fathers, but I'm talking. You know who you are. You know you've been taking care of your family and um doing what you got to do to make sure your kids are taken care of, and even if the mother or the baby's mother is spiteful, you doing what you're supposed to do as a man. God bless all y'all, because the reason why I know there's other races that has good fathers, but especially with black men, that is needed. And the narrative in this country is there's not black men like that. And me, Coach JB, Brent Fox, and Big Joe, who's a father himself, and so is Brent Fox, is here to tell you that's not true. There's a lot of black men that have the good black men that have done what they're supposed to, and the spotlight is not being shined on them, and that's done on purpose. So I say all that to say this: even though you need to treat yourself every day, well, when you can, because the economy is bad right now. But especially today, excuse me, tomorrow, make sure you do something special for yourself. Or you got kids that praise you and celebrate you. You're blessed. You are blessed. Coach, while we wrap this up, any lasting words you have to say?
First and foremost, salute to the awesome and amazing LDBC. This was a great and excellent show. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers within the sound of my weak voice. Happy Father's Day, Big Joe. Happy Father's Day to Pops. May senior rest in peace on Father's Day tomorrow. And
Yes.
we just appreciate like all the real fathers out there handling their business, like my brother said, because despite what the media says, they don't want positive examples of good black fathers, like individuals like Bill Haney, who is like one of the nicest people I've met in life. Salute to individuals like Bill Haney, like Brian Norman Sr., like these positive black men that's involved in their child's lives and push them on to do great things. But you know, these individuals don't get the kind of spotlight and shine that they deserve. And it's just sad how they just want to depict black men in negative lights. But when you get positive people like the Deontay Wilder, the Devin Haney, the Bill Haney, the Brian Norman Sr., Brian Norman Jr., they, especially in the sport of boxing, they don't appreciate the black father. Even look at somebody like LeVar Ball. We could say what we want about him, but guess what? Look at the role he played and the impact he had in his son's life. So at the end of the day, salute to all the black fathers. Happy Father's Day. And y'all have a blessed, phenomenal weekend and peace and blessing to the family.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Uh, Big Joe. Any lasting words?
I want to say salute to the mighty LDBC. Salute to all the fathers out there. There's no better feeling, than to be called dad, father. There's nothing better
Mm,
than your kids saying "I love you, I appreciate you," and whatnot.
mm-hmm.
Ain't no better feeling than that. I don't care how
Yes.
player you think you are. I don't care none of that other stuff. Ain't nothing more gratifying than your child saying "I love you, I appreciate you." And for all the brothers out there who don't take care of their children, I ain't trying to hear none of that. If you decide to lay down with a woman and have kids with them, whether if y'all get along or not, your child needs you. So if you're a guy out there who ducks your responsibilities, then that shows you the kind of man that you are. And I ain't got no sympathy for you either, because regardless of you get along with the dog's mom or not, your child did not ask to be here. You decided to to create your child, so it's your responsibility to take it. So especially if you call yourself religious or a Christian or you believe in God, if you believe in God, then you need to believe and take care of your children. Shout out to all the men out there who take care of their kids. Y'all take care of yourself tomorrow. Whether it's taking yourself to a nice meal, whether it's buying you a
Yes.
little gift from
Yes.
Amazon or whatnot. Hell, I bought myself a new smartwatch, a new wallet, and some new earbuds. You dig what I'm saying? So take care of yourself, treat yourself. I might even get a massage later on during the week. There's many things you can do to take care of yourself. So y'all be easy. Y'all have a good Father's Day. I'll holla.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And JB, any lasting words you have for us before we get off
Man,
here?
no problem, man. Happy Father Day to all the black kings, that's handling their business, man. Um, enjoy your weekend. This weekend is for you. Hell, enjoy the whole week. Upcoming week. No, damn that. Enjoy the whole rest of your life. Keep doing what you need doing. Don't limit. Don't need to keep limiting ourselves to a day or a month. Live your life the best way you can. Enjoy your life with you and your family. And, keep, like Big Joe said, man, keep doing the right things, man, and and keep loving your family, and just keep being that standout that the black community needs, even when no one is watching.
Yes. Like I said, being a good black father is a thankless job. Um, so we appreciate everybody who came and rock with us this Saturday night, man. Y'all, I know there's boxing going on and UFC, so y'all go enjoy it. Watch it with your pops. Y'all, if you don't have a close relationship with your pops while he's still living, man, give him a call. Tell him you love him. But that's
Hell, actually, my bad. I'm sorry. One last thing.
no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Some I know some brothers, their fathers have passed away. Some brothers, or sisters, you didn't grow up without a father. Well, if you have a stepdad, you have a mentor, you have a coach, you're raised by your grandparents, whoever was that figure in your life, the male figure in your life, give them a call. Tell them you appreciate them. It ain't got to be just Father's Day. Whoever put that wisdom on you, whatever it could be, you have an OG neighbor, whatever it is. Make sure you reach out to them on Father's Day and tell them that you appreciate it.
Period, man. Period. Please do it. But man, y'all have a blessed weekend, and then ultimately y'all have a blessed Father's Day. This was another installment of the Southern Baller Show. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. Y'all be blessed.